On this special broadcast coming to you from New York, we will tell you the inside details about how Pakistan's minorities here in New York will expose Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan and Pakistan Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa. The minorities of Pakistan have come together to bring out a white paper of sorts to expose Imran Khan and Pakistan's atrocities on their minorities. There are several trucks, several taxis where gory details of Pakistan's atrocities against the Baloch people within Pakistan in Balochistan, against the Pashtuns, against the Muhajirs. Incidentally, it's the Muhajir Imran Khan and General Qamar Javed Bajwa and Pakistan's ISI. There are several prominent leaders of the community who now join me on this India First special broadcast, and I quickly want to introduce our guests on the show. I have Nadeem Nusrat. Welcome on the show, sir. You head the movement of the Muhajirs here in New York, Muhajirs for Justice. I also have Wase Jalil. Welcome on India Today. And Puneet Ahluwalia. Puneet Ahluwalia is a very well-known face on Indian television. He's a Republican. Puneet Ahluwalia is also getting all the minorities of South Asia together to expose Pakistan. But I want to ask by asking Nadeem Nusrat, what's your strategy, Nadeem Nusrat, in tackling Imran Khan's rant at the United Nations General Assembly?
We are here to expose the other side of the reality, which is that Pakistan, since its inception, has been dealt by only one ethnic group, which is called the Punjabis elite, and which has the support, always they have the support of Pakistani military. And together they have run the country since 1947. They dealt with the majority group Bengalis in a highly repressive way, forcing them to part their ways and create their own country, Bangladesh, but not before Pakistani military massacred over 1 million Bengalis. And then can you imagine that those Muhajirs who stood by Pakistani military in Bangladesh to save Pakistan, they are still languishing in 50 or plus Red Cross camps, even after 48 years. And then the list just goes on.
It's an endless list, as you very rightly pointed out. Incidentally, Muhajirs are those people, Muslims who went from India to Pakistan after partition, and even after 70 years, Muhajirs haven't been integrated, or people who went from India to Pakistan in 1947, they have not been integrated. On the contrary, despite being the money bags, they are the ones who are being tortured in Pakistan. Is that a correct assessment?
This is the correct assessment, and we haven't been interacted yet and accepted yet. And every day, in every decades, in every form of government, either it's military dictatorial or any democratic government, we have been facing the persecution in the name of Muhajirs, and thousands of people have been killed, thousands languishing in the jail, thousands have been disappeared. And if you talk about anything against Muhajirs, now you get easily picked up by the establishment of Pakistan. And they have a black law in Pakistan which has got like 90 days. In 90 days, you cannot even lodge any FIR. You can put them anywhere in their safe houses. They can torture you. And there are like several pictures on the social media that you can see everything, atrocities against the Muhajirs.
So Pakistan's rant about Kashmir, Pakistan's rant about abrogation of sections of Article 370 is actually just deflection tactics. What Pakistan is doing to its own people, to its own minorities, is... How are you assessing it, given the fact that you've been talking to a large number of Pakistani minorities, Puneet?
First thing is, I have to say, you can see it on the expression of Imran Khan when he was sitting with President Trump, and then he's been giving his rant around. You can see the stress on his face because he's lost the drum they were beating about Kashmir and other issues. I think when you start talking about Kashmir, let's get the minorities of Pakistan and discuss the Muhajir issue, the Pashtun issue, the Baloch issue, and other minority issues, and say that let's take care of them first. So I feel that he's got stress, he's disoriented, and if you see he's talking, his hands are moving all around in different face and shape. So there's a concern on their part because in the international community, nobody's listening to them, nobody cares. You are a promoter of terrorism. You have exported the serious atom bomb technology or the technology for nuclear attack on other countries which are rogue to the United States and to the world society.
And this is when people are actually speaking out against Pakistan Army and Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. I also want to bring in India Today's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan for more on this story. Geeta, Pakistan lives in a glass house and Pakistan has made that big mistake of throwing a stone at India. Before I tell our viewers what India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar said to completely expose Pakistan, to give facts about Article 370, Geeta, it's Pakistan that's in the line of fire now, especially when Pakistani minorities speak up.
Well, that's right, Gaurav. There are two aspects to the Pakistan story and the Pakistan narrative. One is to do with terrorism, which you will be speaking about when you talk about External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar's comments. The other aspect has to do with human rights. And this is your story on what human rights situation is within Pakistan. The Baloch, the Pashtuns, the people of Kashmir in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir certainly are voices that we are hearing from on the ground in New York, and the voices that are not being heard by the Pakistani administration. One, they turn a blind eye to, and one that the international community is watching very closely. It's not just New York. Look at the conversations that are underway in Geneva. Even as we speak, Gaurav, there have been very strong statements that have come against Pakistan, but it just seems like Pakistan wants to focus on one thing and one thing alone without looking at the problems that lie within their own soil and their own land.
Oh, absolutely. And India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, he's been addressing a number of very influential and powerful think tanks here in New York. And he's made one thing very clear. Abrogation of Article 370. 1, it was a temporary feature. 2, it is to completely integrate a part of our own country with the rest of the country. 3, having Article 370 led to gender discrimination. So now gender discrimination is ending. So are problems with right to information. There wasn't right to information in Jammu and Kashmir, or right to education, or right to nutrition. 100 laws that were applicable in the rest of the country were not applicable in Jammu and Kashmir, and this has nothing to do with Pakistan, which is an external factor. Their no boundary of India is changing. He also made it very clear there cannot be cricket with Pakistan as a rapprochement till the time Pakistan takes very decisive action against India-centric terror.
I mean, we have no problem talking to Pakistan. But we have a problem talking to terroristan. And they have to be one and not be the other. I think for Pakistan, it was a country which has really created an entire industry of terrorism to deal with the Kashmir issue, and who now see that investment of 70 years undercut if this policy succeeds. Theirs is, I think, today a reaction of anger, of, frustration in many ways. It's very difficult in real life to separate issues. Dominant narrative of a relationship is of terrorism, suicide bombings, violence. Then you say, okay guys, now tea break, let's go and play cricket. I think that's a very hard narrative to sell to people. So there is, I mean, look, this is a democracy, sentiments of people do matter.
So cricket and terror cannot happen simultaneously. In your appreciation, and since you've lived in Pakistan, is Pakistan a state sponsor of terror?
Well, I don't have anything to say. Just recently, maybe 2 days ago, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan admitted before international media that Pakistani military intelligence agencies have trained, equipped and sent on missions Al-Qaeda and Taliban. So what is there to discuss about this? The sitting Prime Minister of the country is admitting.
How does Pakistan treat, let's say, the Muhajirs who went after partition? Not what happened in 1947, but these days, what's happening in Pakistan today?
Well, Muhajirs have not been accepted. We are here in the USA, right?
So Muslims who went from India have not been accepted in Pakistan?
No, the founders of Pakistan had this this belief that somehow the religion will be able to unite people of different ethnicities. It failed. The whole idea actually came crashing down. Since 1947, Pakistan has been facing ethnic issues, and that was the whole reason of the creation of Bangladesh. We are in New York, right? And Barack Hussein Obama can become the president of the USA. Sadiq Khan, the second generation Pakistani, can become the mayor of London. 70 plus years, not a single Muhajir has been accepted as the chief minister. You go to Karachi, you will be struggling to find a Muhajir in Pakistani military, in rangers, in police, in government jobs. We are still considered as Indian agents. Our loyalties are still doubtful, even though our forefathers were at the forefront of the movement for Pakistan. Muhajirs are treated like a colonized group of people.
And this is at a time when Pakistan rants about Kashmir, Kashmir where there is transparency, Kashmir where there's democracy, Kashmir where incidentally, and I will tell you that later on the show, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval is still there. But is this restricted only to Muhajirs, or is this the plight of all minorities in Pakistan?
I think this is the plight of all minorities in Pakistan. Baloch, Pashtun, Gilgiti, Ahmadis, Shia. Everyone is facing the same persecution right now on daily basis.
Are Hindus and Sikhs the worst when it comes to Pakistan Army or Pakistan state atrocities or Pakistan people's atrocities?
Absolutely, yes. And they're like forced conversion also, especially in the province of Sindh. They're like forced conversion particularly with the girls to change and become like Muslims so they can marry them. And if they don't, then they just throw them away, dump them away, or they are. And the best thing in Pakistan is to put the label of blasphemy in Pakistan.
Yes.
That's what they do right now, that if you don't agree with them, they just put like blasphemy allegation on you.
So, Puneet, is anything being done to sensitize the world about the true face of Pakistan? Because these very oily, glib-talking Pakistanis virtually seem to get away with murder.
The reason is we have to outline the things they have done over the past 70 years. Osama bin Laden, the person who attacked our country, was found in Pakistan next to their army training grounds. And you see, we have to keep repeating and telling the world, because in the whole noise, they try to play a pitiful role, a partnership role. But they have been a disloyal partner. They have always tied up with the Chinese. They've always gone to the people. Look, America has supported them for 70 years. They've never ever said, go put one of your fleets in Gwadar Port or in Karachi. They have always seen us as a place to extract money, give us a false narrative, and feel that we will get away.
But is that being countered now? Remains.
That's what we have done under the leadership of Nadeem Nusrat. We have created a platform to bring all minorities together and in one voice highlight the atrocities and the plight of minorities in Pakistan. And we're working very closely with Ambassador Brownback and Secretary Pompeo with the religious freedom, because that was part of the object is the religious freedom and minority rights are important, and people who are allies of the United States have to take care of the minorities and human rights.
Which is what Pakistan is very clearly not doing. Now, before I come to them about their strategy, and remember, this is how they're going to expose Imran Khan and the Pakistani state completely. Let's take a look at how Pakistan speaks with a forked tongue. Pakistan has approached the United Nations. Pakistan approached the United Nations Security Council, where Pakistan said that Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, his bank account should be frozen, should not be frozen anymore. At least he should be allowed to take out 1,50,000 rupees for his personal expenses. Imagine. Hafiz Saeed is a UN designated global terrorist. Hafiz Saeed is the mastermind of 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. Hafiz Saeed is wanted for terror attacks in India and on Indian interests in Afghanistan. And Pakistan government, Pakistani state, Pakistani diplomats bat for Hafiz Saeed at the United Nations.
He's India's most wanted arch terrorist. Founder of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. Father of the 26/11 terror attack. And a VVIP citizen of the Pakistani state. And now in front of the whole world, Hafiz Mohammed Saeed now has Pakistan begging the international community to unfreeze his terror accounts. You heard that right. Pakistan has been caught using its diplomatic machinery to lobby for an international terrorist. Pakistan has reached out to the United Nations Security Council asking to let the UN-designated global terrorist and Jamaat-ud-Dawa chief Hafiz Saeed use his bank account for personal expenses of his family. Hafiz Saeed was arrested on July the 17th in a terror financing case and has since been lodged at Lahore's Kot Lakhpat jail in high security. Though this has widely been seen as a ruse to satisfy international scrutiny under the aegis of the terror financing watchdog, the FATF. Pakistan was earlier forced to freeze Hafiz Saeed's bank account to comply with the United Nations Security Council resolution. Now, Pakistan has requested the UN to let Hafiz Saeed withdraw approximately $1,000 to cover necessary basic living expenses for him and his family. All perhaps in an effort to fool the international community into thinking the terror mastermind is living a hard life. At a time when Pakistan attempts to paint itself as a victim of terror, Imran Khan has been caught bending over backwards for the 2611 mastermind. Consider the words used by Pakistan in its carefully crafted appeal to the United Nations, all in an effort to invoke sympathy for the father of Pakistani terrorism. Hafiz Saeed has worked as assistant professor in University of Engineering and Technology, Lahore, for the period 1974 to 1999. He had completed a pensionable service of 25 years and drawing a pension of 45,700 rupees through his bank account. He has a family of 4 members to support and needs to provide food, drink and clothing expenses for the family. This stunning normalization of a master terrorist is an insult especially to the US Department of Treasury, which has designated the 2611 Mumbai attack mastermind a specially designated global terrorist and has since 2012 offered a $10 million reward for information to bring Hafiz Saeed to justice. In a stunning irony, Imran's efforts to give Hafiz Mohammad Saeed access to his funds comes at a time when Indian intelligence alarms are ringing over a Lashkar-e-Taiba terror threat to 5 Indian Air Force bases in the north. The Lashkar-e-Taiba founder may be in Lahore's Kot Lakhpat jail, but Pakistan's insidious begging bowl on his behalf at the United Nations confirms his true power even from behind bars. And Pakistan's continued efforts to paint him as anything but a terrorist. Bureau Report, India Today.
So what is the strategy of Pakistan's minorities to expose Pakistan Army and Imran Khan? Nadeem Nusrat, what do you intend to do tomorrow?
Well, we have been running taxis here and also trucks which will be running digital ads exposing. We also have prepared, for example, booklets and brochures. Some of them are here. For example, this is Karachi, not Kashmir. And here is a picture of a gentleman, Ali Raza Abdi. He was a young member of the parliament. He was very vocal, critical of Pakistani military establishment's policies against the minorities. He was gunned down last Christmas. And
so that's the truth about Pakistan. Speak up against Pakistan Army, you get gunned down. Are you also, reaching out to congressmen and senators, lawmakers in the US?
Oh yes, that's what we are doing here for almost 2 years now, that we are approaching the senators, congressmen over here and apprising them the situation of Muhajirs particularly in Pakistan and their plight basically. And for the last 70 years we haven't been accepted yet. Pakistan talk about Kashmir, but we have a daily situation in Kashmir right now. So that's what Pakistan has to think about, that they have to change the strategy. Rather going for Kashmir, we should think about Pakistan.
Save Pakistan's minorities. Is it working? Are congressmen and senators reacting?
Well, if you've seen the last 2 years, we never heard the word Muhajir before. It was always about Baloch and Pashtun, but now everybody knows that Nadeem Nusrat is taking the conversation forward. Okay. And we have hosted roundtables, we've had articles in newspapers, and we have apprised congressmen and senators one-on-one, including I was at an event where I shared with Secretary Pompeo that I represent the Muhajirs. So we are getting the word out, and then what we do is work in the United States as we run every political campaign. Now, this is a campaign about the people of Pakistan, the minorities of the South Asia region.
Save the minorities of Pakistan and you'll see a high octane. So hundreds of taxis and trucks, we are told, exposing Pakistan Army, exposing Imran Khan, will be on the streets of New York today and tomorrow. That is all I have time for on the show. Many thanks for joining me on this India First special. We wish you get justice. Many thanks for being a part of this show. We shall continue to report on the latest developments here in New York. That is all I have time for on this India First special. Many thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.